I made it back in one piece from my annual hunt into the wilds of Alaska. Can't say the same for the toad and the trailer it rides on. Now that I have dried out and have my gear put up, I have a chance to review my 2023 Sockeye season on the Kenai. The Sockeye run turned out to be better than the 2022 run, and the 2022 run was great. There were plenty of reds in the river for me to test out a couple circle hooks on. The circles I experimented with were the Gamakatsu Kraken in 1/0, 2/0, and 3/0, and the Gamakatsu Nautilus in 2/0, 3/0, and 4/0. And I caught fish on all of them. I modified the Nautilus by bending the hook so that the point was in line with the shank. As a rule, I don't like bending hooks as it weakens them. But in this case, the tweak isn't much and the modification worked like a charm. With all the testing and experimenting with circles on sockeye that I've done over the years, I found myself favoring a straight eye inline point design. I feel that a circle with an offset point tends to grab a hold of places other than the mouth, more so than an inline design. So here are my thoughts on the Kraken. First off, it has the shortest shank of all the circles I've tested. A 3/0 Kraken is slightly longer than a 1/0 Nautilus. The inside diameter of the eye is larger than most of the circles I've tested, and is also different in that its barb is on the outside. Also, the 1/0 Kraken has the same gap as the 1/0 Nautilus, both of which are legal in waters requiring a gap of 3/8 inch or less. As to whether the Kraken is effective on sockeye, the proof is in the pudding, as the saying goes. That's in the mouth. I've covered the Nautilus in a previous video, but was curious to see if modifying it to an inline point made any difference. Don't know for certain if the modified Nautilus worked better, but I feel it did. I didn't seem to have as many on-offs. And did it catch fish? Yes, it did. Fish on. This might be a keeper. Yeah, he's a keeper. Oh, and he's wearing jewelry. He picked up some jewelry downstream. Okay, and that's what you call in the mouth. Maybe it's just me, but I believe the longer shank on the Nautilus allows for a better rotational action once the point is engaged. I've been asked why I debarb. If he gets your... To debarb or not to debarb is a personal preference. I debarb all my circles because if by some off chance I manage to impale myself or someone else, the hook is easily removed. Additionally, it's easier to get the hook out of the landing net. I might lose a fish or two, but I can't prove it one way or the other. I have noticed that more often than not, once the fish is in the net, the hook will come out. There you go. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Oh, you got one too.
Let me look here. Mine's bigger.
They're almost the same.
Yeah.
Yours is a little bit bigger.
Mine's bigger. Let me show you a little trick that I learned from watching the guides. Grab a hold of that net like that.
Yeah.
So you're not dragging the whole net through the water. So when you scoop,
Yeah.
as soon as the fish goes in there, you let her go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you flip
Sideways.
then you flip it over like this and grab it here.
Gotcha.
And so the fish is trapped in there, and you're not breaking your handle in here.
Yeah. All right.
And that's I watched the guides, and I'm sitting there. Well, that makes sense. No drag on the net. A leader that is close to 9 foot, maybe more.
Wow.
You know, well, my theory on that: the longer leader you can use increases the odds of something running into it. So with that theory, I should be able to use a 30-foot leader and have something run into it every cast. To put this season in perspective, between myself, my wife, and my son, who took a break from teaching and joined us this year, we landed close to 100 reds and put 70 on the stringers. As a bonus, we also landed and released several nice rainbows and dollies. I lost count of how many reds we released for one reason or another. A very few, and I do mean very few, were foul hooked. To wrap things up, if there are sockeye swimming by and you are in the zone with a circle hook tied onto the end of your line, you're going to get hookups. Unless I run across another circle hook to test, I'll be tying on my modified Nautiluses and the Krakens. So until next season, practice yelling, "Fish on!" You need to be in good voice when you use circle hooks.